Joe Classified Series Snake Eyes. I've been waiting a long time. The street date was the 26th, I believe, of July, and I just got him. He just hit shelves here in northern Minnesota, and I'm so happy to own him. He looks beautiful. So the packaging looks great. I really love this art that is on of Snake Eyes here. Just wow, looks so cool. I love the red and the blues there. Just looks really great. G.I. Joe Classified Series Snake Eyes, Hasbro, warning at the top here, 4 and up. Great image of the figure. Behind him you have a G.I. Joe star behind him. On the side here, just an extension of his arm from the first shot we see here, and then a picture of Snake Eyes up top jumping at you. On the back here we get that great art we saw with the Roadblock figure. It looks very, very cool. That is just really colorful. It's a great display of characters. I'm really excited to see the rest of these figures. On the side here we get some various symbols, and you can see he's the second figure in the series. So all around, very, very cool packaging. You can see the number 2 on the top, and the star. On the bottom you just get some nonsense and the barcode, which you can screenshot if you'd like and scan it. Otherwise, this figure looks beautiful, and I'm really, really excited to open him up. So let's take a look. First off, Snake Eyes comes with this backpack, which is sculpted very, very nicely. I love the metallics on here, all the different buckles. On the sides here too, you can see nice metallics, but the texturing, the wrinkles in it, it's just very, very realistic. It looks like a genuine backpack made of cloth. It looks very, very nice. Obviously, it's plastic, but the sculpts and the wrinkles and the detail they put in is very, very nice. And second, we get this sort of, I'm not going to say it's an assault rifle, it almost looks more like a submachine gun. It's a less realistic gun, obviously not realistic at all. I know the other Snake Eyes that came out before this one came with more realistic guns, and the one on shelves does not have very realistic guns at all. And I think it's because it's more, personally, it's been with Marvel Legends too, we haven't really seen a ton of realistic guns, with the exception of like Punisher, maybe a few others. But I mean, looking at the Winter Soldier movie figures we got, they did not really come with any realistic guns. I don't know why these guys didn't come with realistic guns. I'm going to assume it's because of they're just widely available and kids will see them and they don't want to, have that influence. But I wish they would put the realistic guns, but I get why they're not doing it, and I respect it. It's all good. With that aside, the gun is cool. It looks very, very nice. Personally, I really like it. It gets the job done, really. It's not super realistic, but it's also not crazy outlandish and just stupid. It looks very nice. The details are sculpted. The paintwork is it's just a flat black. It is what it is. And it looks good. Personally, I like it. Very nice sculpted details all throughout this. Looks pretty nice. And there is a peg on the side here, and I will show you why that is there after we go through the accessories. And then we get a little pistol here, which, like this gun here, it has a hole in it. So you can see there's a little hole there. And I don't know why they did that. On the other gun, I think I know why, and I believe it's for storage purposes, but for this, I do not know why they included that hole. I think it's just the design. I mean, it looks cool. I don't mind it. Without the hole, maybe it would look kind of plain. I guess it looks decent. I don't mind it. Overall, the gun is pretty cool. It's not some crazy deviation from a realistic gun, so it manages and looks nice. The sculpt work is really good. It's very glossy and it's dark. And that's cool. And it also comes with a silencer, which I love. You can slip that right onto the end. Obviously, the tinier end of this, you can put that right on the end of the gun. It fits on just like that. I'm definitely going to be displaying it with this silencer, which also kind of adds a more realistic look. The silencer does not fit onto the bigger gun, unfortunately, but it's okay. The silencer is very cool. It's just a flat black with a little ring right here, and then it's indented into it goes into a smaller circle, so it can just smaller cylinder, so it can just port onto this little gun, and it stays on there very nicely too. It looks very cool. And then here's Snake Eyes sheath, and you can see it has a very cool texturing right here. It's like all cracked. God, it's like some kind of leather. It just looks really cool. It's a very nice rough material. I love it. And I love all the different little like stitching right there. It's going down the sides. The end of this is just flat. Very cool. It just looks great overall. I like how they have the Snake Eyes symbol up top. And even the sword fits in there very, very easy. In fact, I think I have it in there backwards. My bad. Fits in there very easy. It's not going anywhere. Gosh, it looks so nice, man. I really love what they did here. And then here is Snake Eyes Katana. It looks nice for the most part. It would have been cool if they put his symbol on it or something, but it's not a big deal. Overall, the sculpting on the hilt is what really makes this special. It's very organic and flowy looking going upward. It just looks very, very nice. I really like that hilt personally, and I love how it's curved up here too. Very cool sculpt work. And I love how they include a little spot for his fingers there too. You can see there's like a little hook on it that comes down in front. It goes in. It looks very nice in my opinion. I absolutely love that. Aside from that, it's very plain kind of blade. It's not realistic really just because it's completely flat black. So it would have been nice if that blade was silver or just like a metallic in my opinion. But it looks cool. I like what they're going for, and it is just sculpted beautifully. And then lastly, one of my favorite accessories. Don't ask me why. I think knives are cool. It looks dope personally. Backhanded, you know, Snake Eyes with a backhanded knife fighting Storm Shadow or some shit. I think that is so badass, dude. But I really like this. I'm glad they included this. It's a very cool accessory. Detailed, okay, not as cool as the katana, but you know, what it's going for, it accomplishes. It looks good and has all the little rivets there for his fingers. And like the other one, this hilt kind of sticks out a little bit. You can see they even sculpted little screws or nails in the screws in there. It looks very nice. Either way, very nice work there. Looks good. And Snake Eyes can hold the knife very nicely. It's in the other hand as well, and it does work if you want to do it backhanded. My only complaint so far with this guy, this is my only complaint, his hands are not flexible at all. It's so difficult to open them up so he can hold weapons. It is just a pain in the ass. So you really got to be careful, because when you're taking these in and out, I get worried I'm going to break something. So just be careful. These hands are not easy to move. So, especially this one on his left, or my left, his right side, is just hard to move around or fit weapons into. And then if you don't want him to be displayed holding the knife, you can just sheath it, put it right in there, in this little sheath, and it actually fits in there very nicely. It almost feels kind of loose, but I don't think it's going to fall out at all. So it fits in there very nicely. I recommend putting it in the correct way, but it fits in both ways. So, fits in there good. And then he can hold his gun very nicely in this hand. However, it's really difficult to get him to hold it in two hands. Like to put this hand on the actual rifle. You can do it, but it doesn't really work out too well, especially because the articulation points up and down versus in and out on both hands, which is a piece of articulation I like, and it does this little snapping thing. It works really well. But when you want him to hold the gun, it's not so great. Especially just because of the design of this gun is kind of, there you go. You can have him kind of hold that magazine, or what appears to be like a magazine, but it still just kind of looks rough. I'm sure you could tweak that a little bit, but it's okay. It's not too great. It does fit in the other hand as well, but it's just a little bit looser. Just a tiny, tiny bit, but not enough to really bug me. Then he holds this pistol very, very nicely. Fits in his hand great. The finger actually goes into the trigger, so that's awesome. And it fits very nicely into the other hand as well. And if you want to store the pistol, what you want to do is pop that silencer off. Very easy. And you can put that right in the holster there. Fits in nice and snug. And there is a little holder for the silencer too, which is a really, really nice detail. I really appreciate that so much. And they both fit in there very nicely. And if you mess with them for a bit, you can actually get the sword into both hands. I love that. And this little bit of butterfly articulation there, I think really helps with that. Otherwise, you can have him hold it in one hand. That works really well. Be careful popping that out of there. Hopefully this is in focus. And then you can slide into this hand as well, and it fits into this hand pretty nicely too. So he can hold his sword very well, and that is great because that is so important to the character of Snake Eyes. So very cool. He can hold his katana. Now there's a little peg hole in his back and on the back of his little belt here that goes around his body that holds his grenades, and has a little nether compartment for something, maybe ninja stars, I don't know. You basically line these two holes up, make sure they're lined up, and you take the peg on the back of this backpack and pop it right in there. And it fits in there. It's not going anywhere, at least doesn't feel like it is. However, there's quite a separation between his back and the backpack, so that's kind of silly looking. It's a little stupid in my opinion, but whatever. So what you want to do is set Snake Eyes down, make sure the sword is sheathed. That's important. And what you can do, what I like to do personally, is port this gun in here Okay, so it goes in on the side of the backpack. And again, this is really awesome that you can do this. I love the fact he actually stores weapons and he looks like a badass when you do it. And this hole in the side of the gun, now I don't think this is its intended purpose. It might be, but you can kind of pop that into there. It's really tight though, so be careful. And you can kind of have that chilling on there. And there, you can have all of his accessories on him. Otherwise, if you don't feel comfortable doing that and you're like, dude, that's not the correct way, you're on crack, I'll set this off to the side here and you can just port this in. And if you like none of the above and you're like, why the fuck does his backpack stick 10 feet off him? And if I want it to stay on his body, his little grenade belt is like sticking way off of his body. What you can do is just slide that off. And what I like to do personally is just throw his sword on his back. I think that looks great and I'm cool with that. I'll probably just put those other two accessories into storage because I don't think I'm going to be displaying him with either, honestly. I think this looks the best in my opinion. Otherwise, you can also, let me focus this for you a bit better. You could just put his gun on his back, but I think the sword is a bit more important personally. However, you do you, man. If that's not what you're feeling, do this then. But you can, there's quite a bit of variation. There's wiggle room if you want to do something different. So accessories aside, this guy has a crazy amount of detail. The head sculpt, as you can see here, I'll bring this in just a tad bit more so you get a nice view of it. I want you to be able to see that. It's very dark though, obviously, because it's Snake Eyes. But you can see he has little holes in the front so he can breathe. It's very triangular. It's like all kind of coming towards the front. That looks very cool. I love that like rim going right down the middle. And I love his visor. That looks awesome. And the little red piece on top of it. Very glossy visor. I like the fact that it's all black where the exclusive actually had a gray kind of shiny visor. So, I mean, that's a cool look too, don't get me wrong. But I prefer this one more. So, overall, the head sculpt is very, very nice. It looks like it's very badass and breathable, but also like an armor, so that's very cool. I love all the detail they did on that. So outside of that little bit of Snake Eyes detail, you can see he has a great belt wrapping around his body. Very nice grenades. Those are all sculpted beautifully. There's softer plastic too, so that's very nice. They're not going to hinder anything. They're not going to break or anything like that. It looks very good all the way around, wrapping around him. Under this belt here, you can pop off the head. Pop that off. Under this here, you can see he has like a softer plastic kind of vest on his chest. And that is very nice looking. I love the textures on it. The metallics, his little Snake Eye symbol. Looks great overall. I really love that. More metallics on the back here. Great texturing. Even on the plastic parts of his body that aren't added parts, okay, like soft plastics like these here on the biceps that hide the articulation very well, might I say. Even on these parts though, you can see there's sculpted armor pieces on his forearms, on the back of his bicep here, on his triceps. You can see it's like sculpted armor going down and more red on here. A little bit of paint scuffing right there, just faded, but otherwise I don't really see any imperfections with this guy that stand out to me. The belt is beautifully done, great texturing there, really nice symbol. Again, that consistent Snake Eyes symbol. We see it on the sword here too. And like I said, just great metallics, great textures, and the same kind of texturing here on these little holsters and the buckles wrapping around are metallics too. Just looks really nice overall. The pants have some nice sculpting too, very nice texture except for on the inside of the thighs. The pelvic piece too is a softer, rubbery kind of plastic that covers the hard plastic underneath it, and that really allows for you to bend his legs back without the articulation being hindered. However, they really could make this ass smaller, that plastic piece a bit smaller underneath, and cover it with this softer plastic. I think they could anyways. I mean, I'm not a freaking expert. I don't build these things, but that's just a little critique I have. I really like how you can bend the legs back. I like these softer plastic pieces. Hell, they could even have it kind of cover a little bit more, I think, just so you don't see that huge gap right there, personally. However, the belt kind of covers it. If you bring it down far enough, it does. And that's just a really organic look. That's what I'm always going for. Organic, man. It's the best way to be. Great shoulder pads here, too, that are very glossy. Those stand out. There's obviously, or knee pads, not shoulder pads. Did I say shoulder pads, man? What the hell? Knee pads. And also a glossy material here on the boots that have sculpted little toes, like they look like sandals that little samurai ninja dudes wear, so that's very cool. And then just overall great sculpt work throughout the entire body. You can see shoulder pads here, now I can say it. I really like these. Again, I really like how these cover the biceps too. This covers the rotation at the thigh as well, so it doesn't stand out too much and it doesn't hinder the articulation. However, this moves around a little bit. Just not a big deal though, really. But again, just great sculpt work down by the boots at the top here. Great sculpt work on the pants as well. And the boots are just sculpted very nice. I dig it a lot. So taking a look at Snake Eye's articulation, you can see he looks crazy far back because he actually has a ball joint in his head here, a little peg, a hinge in his neck. And then there is a rotation here at the bottom of his neck as well, a little swivel rotation, a little pivot. Just looks, I love that so much. That piece of articulation really sells this guy, man. Just beautiful right there. But he looks very, very far back, likely looks very far down, can obviously look side to side with a very nice organic look as that neck moves. It just looks natural. So side to side there, obviously rotation all the way around. He does have butterfly joints that are okay. I mean, they work for the most part. You can see they're kind of working there, but they could be a little more extreme in my opinion. You could do a little more, but they work for the most part very nice. The arms go out very, very far. Can obviously go all the way around, and you can do all kinds of crazy stuff. So that's cool. There's a rotation here at the bicep. There's a double jointed elbow. There's a rotation here at the wrist. There is a pivot in his hand, a little hinge that goes up and down. So that's very nice. There is an ab crunch as well. It goes very far forward and very, very far back. And there is a little swivel here at his waist, which is another piece of articulation that these G.I. Joes have that is just magnificent. It really just brings a whole new dimension of articulation to him. Just a whole new dimension of movement and just being natural, man. Looking great. So you can see he looks very far back when you implement the swivel and very, very far forward. What's beautiful about it though is you can pivot, kind of. You can go side to side with his body. So you can make it look like he's dodging a ninja star or some shit. I don't know. Just looks very cool. I love that. And there is a rotation as well. And I love how it's hidden, dude. It's hidden by the belt. It's not like some ugly swivel up here. It's very hidden, so that's cool. Otherwise, his legs go very, very far forward, very far back. Again, this soft plastic piece is great. I love that. Rotation here at his thigh. I have to move this forward. Yeah, these are nice. It'd be nice if they were attached by like a little peg or something down here. Kind of like we saw in the... If you look at the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles NECA figures, they have little pegs on their knee pads. It'd be nice if this was kind of stuck into his leg or something, unless you want to remove it for a custom. I guess that would kind of suck. But it's kind of a bummer that when you rotate it, it moves all around. Because then you have to slide it up, and then you can see that articulation. But it's really not a big deal, man. You're getting this guy because of the articulation. So it is what it is. Aside from that, though, like I said, he can go far back and far forward with his leg. There is rotation. His double jointed knees, this knife fell out, so it does fall out. It doesn't stay in terribly well, but at least it actually goes in there, I guess. But there's double jointed knees here. There is a rotation at his calf as well, his lower leg. And then there is a hinge that works very nicely and an ankle pivot. So overall, very nice. Love these softer rubbery materials. Plastic just looks great overall and really moves fluid. So that's very cool. So the Joes are back and they're better than ever, man. These 6-inch figures are great and this Snake Eyes figure is beautiful. I think he is easily probably the most anticipated figure from this whole first wave of G.I. Joe figures. I'm really looking forward to Destro though. You know, between you and me, that figure is going to be really dope to look at. But this guy knocks it out of the park. Like, what the fuck, dude? Just amazing. But before I end this review, I need to show you some comparisons in size. So here is Snake Eyes next to Roadblock, and he's the only other figure I have opened at the moment, but I don't want to open the other ones yet, so I'm waiting on that. But you can see here, he sizes up really nicely next to Roadblock. So here he is next to Wolverine and Iron Man, and you can see that he actually sizes up really nicely next to them. He's just a bit shorter than Iron Man, who's obviously in a huge suit of armor, and quite a bit taller than Wolverine, who's only 5'3" in the comics. So honestly, so far this line has been really consistent in size with the Marvel Legends. And here he is next to the Stormtrooper Commander. So I highly recommend, if you haven't, you go check your local Target or Walmart and see if they have this guy on the shelf, because he is absolutely worth $20. He is a hell of a lot of fun. He's a beautiful figure, and he's one of the first figures I've literally had no complaints about. I cannot see one thing that I dislike about him. Maybe a few suggestions, but nothing that I don't like. I love everything about this guy. He is absolutely such a fun figure, man. He's a breath of fresh air from previous 6-inch lines we've got. He's just brings so much to the table, man. So much new shit we haven't seen before. Mostly, I mean, this G.I. Joe line in general is bringing things to the table that we haven't seen before, you know? Just the implementation of that great swivel at the waist and the beautiful joint at the neck with the ab crunch. It's really great, man. The softer plastic material at the pelvis, like the McFarlane figures. He's a great figure. He's very refreshing. I mean, when we get Marvel Legends, I feel like most of us kind of know what to expect. You know, we bought that figure before. It's the same body mold, the same articulation. However, they've been stepping up their game. This retro wave was pretty great, so I'm not going to knock them too hard, but it's really great to see figures with just new body molds that are so fantastic. So anyways, that's my rant. Thank you guys for watching this video. Let me know what you think of these figures. Let me know what you think of Marvel Legends for using body molds all the time. And most of all, subscribe, like, comment, and keep collecting. Peace, guys.